Hey guys, Jason with the CTW podcast. Got a great episode for you today. Justin Wildy, head coach of the Maryland National girls team, head coach at Woodlawn High School. Great episode. Before we get at it, quick word from our sponsor this week, Eastern Regional Insurance Company, independent agency serving clients in Maryland. The agency offers prompt professional service for auto, home, business, and life insurance. Okay, they're a part of the local community. Get in touch with their staff today. Phone number 410-933-0044 or visit reinsurance.com. Without further ado, here's Justin Wildy. Enjoy.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Back with another episode of the CTW podcast. With me, as always, Jason. Jason, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Just sitting in my office.
Super excited, I can see. We got to slow that pulse rate down a little bit for this one. Coming up, a big episode in studio with PD3, Pat Downey. What were your thoughts on that one, Jason? Any feedback that you've gotten so far?
Good. People liked it. And, he's a controversial topic right now. So, it was good to hear from him. And obviously, Maryland, Baltimore connection. We, love catching up with him. And I hope he does well at MMA. I always thought like, oh, that's like, he's like an MMA guy. Like he just seemed like should be an MMA guy. So, I think it's going to be a good transition for him. And I think he might find, So I wish him luck in that. Hope he does well.
Is that the first time you met him?
Yeah. That was the first time I met him. I watched him in high school a couple times at the many different high schools that he attended. So
right, but first time like actually interacting with him.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've known him for a little while now. He used to train when he was wrestling, even on like the junior world level. Would get like come over to ground control quite a bit for some training and get
right
some there. But it's weird how just like the reputation that I've always heard on the entire life. And I don't know, it's just, I judge people on the way that they treat me. Always been super respectful. Was he pretty much what you imagined as far as like what you were expecting coming in?
Yeah. I think, a guy, Mike Muno, who works with me, is a good friend of his, and he's, told me about stuff. And I know Bobby Bowman was good buddies with him and always, had good stuff to say about him. So,
yeah, you never know if that's a good thing or not if Bobby Bowman's vouching for a guy.
Right.
That kid's been I call him kid. I mean, he's God. What did he graduate? 5-10 years ago now, but longer than that. But I remember when he was running around when Bowman was coaching over there at Glenelg, and he was super small. So I mean, I really enjoyed that last one. Hopefully we can get that studio up and running again and get some more guests in studio. But let's just move on straight with today. While we heard from, there's a big topic going on lately in sport of wrestling where the narrative, real or otherwise, is, Pat Downey versus women's wrestling. So we brought on somebody very involved in women's wrestling in the sport of, or in the state of Maryland, excuse me. Also the head coach at Woodlawn High School, Justin Wildy. What's going on, buddy?
Man, how you guys doing today, man?
I'm good. You look comfortable, man. Where are you hanging out?
Man, I'm super comfortable. I'm hanging out at my brother's house. Got the kids over here, just getting away from the whole sitting in the house thing.
Okay.
Let them sit in the house.
You out on the deck now or something?
Oh yeah. I decided to sit outside and do this, man. I was sitting in the house right in front of the Wildey wall. My brother, he got a nice little mural with the name on it.
And kids. I see a Wildey style shirt.
Yeah, man. I need my kids to see something with their name on it, so when they grow up, they know, okay, cool. See my name on the shirt, see my name on the wall. When I was a kid, my last name and my grandfather's he owned his own trucking business. So I was just like, I just stuck in my head. It was just one of those seeds that he planted when I was a kid. So just to see them see stuff like that is big for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the other way. So like I have my first is my wife is now due on the 11th. So I think actually the day this drops is going to be her due date. And people suggested, are you going to name him Ryan Jr.? Like if it's we don't even know what we're having. We're going to go the old fashioned route. But they said, you're going to name him Ryan Jr. I said, I don't even know if I want another name Mackin. You know, like I want to set the bar a little bit higher, you know, than naming him after me. But, you know, I'm a low bar. So I just want my kid to reach a little bit higher than what I got. Maybe if I were you, I'd be feeling a little bit differently. But no, it's I mean, being a wrestling dad now, that's something that's new for you. Your son started wrestling. Was it this past season? Was his first year of competition?
It was his first year of just consistent training and competition. Like, before he could get out of his stroller, like, you guys see my son Jackson with me. I think every time I come to ground control,
sure,
I got him in the car seat and I sit him down. That's how I did JJ. So, like, my first head coaching job was at Waverly Elementary Middle with Beat the Streets.
Okay.
And with Lydell Henry. And I would come in there. My son was like maybe 1.5, maybe 1 year old. Sit him down in the car seat, run practice. Next thing I know, he trying to duck walk. Thing I know, he trying to do different moves. His big thing now, he's 8 now, but his big thing now is they didn't want to learn how to throw. So I was like, all right.
Nice.
But his main thing was I knew I wasn't always the best student when I was younger, but once I got my hands on wrestling, it was just like everything changed. So I figured, you know, I've seen him kind of going down that path a little bit. He's a very kind-hearted kid, but focus has the focus of my 1-year-old son. So,
no, that's
look, I'll tell you what, because he wrestled for the Vipers this past year, and even just the beginning of the season to the end, you could tell is a big difference. And like him just being like, you know, the focus, and now even to now, it's just like night and day. He's like super into it now, and it just 6 months, it changed.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Literally, like, his first maybe, I don't know how many matches, his kid was crying after every match. And then his coach pulled him up to the side. I swear, I'll say it to him, and it's like, yeah, whatever, Dad.
Yeah.
His coach Kilo says it to him, and it's like, okay, no problem, warning. So I love it. That's like, he all the crying and stuff. But he asks the same question after every match when I lose. Do I get to wrestle again? Like, oh, yeah, there we go. That's all that matters.
How does he take losses? Yeah, I was going to see how long that lasted.
That's my older brother. That's my older brother. He wrestled for 2 years while I was in like the 6th grade. Didn't come home, say anything about it. So I didn't start wrestling until I was in the 9th grade. So,
so how's your son take losses now? Is he pretty competitive, or
my son is ultra competitive, ultra what's the word that I want to use? He's a sore loser. I'm not even going to tell you. Yeah, he's a sore loser. But like, one of the things, like, I teach any and every kid in the same way that I was coached, is all you have one job is just keep coming back. So regardless of if he wins or lose, you go out there, you take your loss, come back, get back in practice, get back to working, do it again. But like now, he wrestled for the rec, but he trained with the travel team. Like, I went to one rec practice and I was like, nah, this isn't how you grow. Like, no, this is pacifying. Like, no, the best way you learn how to wrestle, I feel like, is you just get baptized by fire. You get in the room and you let them ragdoll you, and you understand this is what it feels like to be a ragdoll. I don't like this. But him, like, yeah, he went to a dual tournament, I think, with the travel team, and he went like 0-8. And then he wrestled the next day at the rec team, and he went like 3-0.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
So it was like a nice little rotation.
No, very.
Yeah, I think he got it. He got a good amount of, you know, getting some wins in, and then also being like seeing where he was at and seeing, you know, okay, like I can beat kids, but there's kids better than me, and it's I think it's good starting out because you know, the biggest thing, even on the high school level, is like getting those kids wins and then them being like, all right, yeah, you know, you don't want them to just get crushed right from the get-go, but you know, once they get that hand raised, usually it's like, all right, this is awesome.
Feeling changed, like the best feeling in the world. But like he came to the Champions at Wrestle tournament, and he went like 0-4, wrestling hammers. But I think every match he was smiling.
That was his. Was that you said that was his first competition, right?
Yeah, that was his first. That might have been his second tournament.
Okay, gotcha.
His second tournament. He went to another tournament. He was younger, but it was just like he'd been in the wrestling rooms, and the coach was like, "Hey, you should bring him out here." And he went out there at the Wolfpack with Walter Johnson, and
Gotcha.
But that was simply because I coach in Woodlawn and they practice in Woodlawn, and he would just be up there for the practices, like maybe like once a week or something like that. And then it was just like, all right, you can't balance school and wrestling at 6 years old, 7 years old, so
yeah,
I'm gonna take one away.
Now, what's that like watching somebody else coach them? Is that tough? You being in a coaching role and you doing it every day at the high school level, is it difficult to kind of give somebody else the reins? I know that you said he listens better to somebody that's not dad, so you've already recognized that early. But is it still tough to sit back and have somebody else doing the coaching?
So I do my best to develop a relationship with the coach, and if they develop a relationship with him, he won't look to me while the match is going on. But it was instances during his like when he was wrestling at rec tournaments and his travel coach wasn't in his corner, he would get up and I would see indecision. So of course, dad coach would come out of me. But like I'll rein myself in because I know being a coach, I don't want some parent yelling at me, "Hey, tell him to pick top." Dude, he's down by one. I'm gonna tell him to pick down. Whether it makes sense or not, what they're yelling as a coach, I don't ever want them to feel like I'm undermining a kid. But there was an instance where it happened, and it was JJ was losing 4-1, and it was like maybe like 13 seconds left. He hits the kid with a double leg, and he's going to get on top, and I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, "Hey, JJ, show the referee, pick neutral, show the referee, show him, just start straight up." And he's getting down, and the coach looks at me, then the coach reiterates, and he goes like that. I'm yelling across the mat at the referee, at the coach, at my son, and they look at me. JJ goes like this. He ends up taking the kid down again, and then I think the kid got an escape or something, and he went into overtime, and then he got the takedown again, and then immediately I walked across the mat. I said, "Hey, man, if you ever see me do that to you again," I'm talking to the coach now, so if you ever see me do that again and I'm yelling at you like that, put me in my place. You're the coach. I'm the dad. So I legit, like, it goes like it goes on and off. Like, he was like, "Hey, man, I'm sorry." He was like, it made sense. I was like, "Nah, man, like, I need him to understand and be able to, like, I'm not going to be his coach all his life.
Right.
Like, I can tweak stuff as he gets older, but I know, like, if he gets that ability to be able to sit in a different room and learn from different coaches, like, he's been in the room with Kerry McCoy. Like, Kerry McCoy will see him, and hey, what's up, Justin? Hey, what's up, JJ? And like, super awesome guy, super humble guy. Every time I get a chance to meet him, but like, he's been in rooms just phenomenal athletes, and he'll be like, he was in a room with Helen Maroulis and was like, "I don't feel like practicing today." I was like, "You gonna put your shoes on today?"
So tell me about the coaching staff over there at the Vipers. It's I mean, obviously Jason helps out there, but I'm sure they have somebody decent over there.
So with
Jason Lex,
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The rec coach, I couldn't even tell you his name right now. I think it was Andy Freiert. I think it was Andy.
Was he on the Hammond team?
Yeah.
That was Murphy, I think.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Murphy.
Brian Murphy, yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't think Murphy was there that day, and there was another guy. And I didn't really know him like too well, but I was just like, look, I've been in a room with Kilo. And my coach told me, he was like, the way you teach your kid to get ready for the next level, you all teach them at the highest level. You teach your junior league kids to wrestle like they're in college. You teach your high school kids to wrestle like they're in college. You teach your college kids to wrestle like they're in college, essentially on a folk style level. And freestyle, like I was always taught to train at the highest level. So it's essentially that's how I want him to be taught. Like, I'm not into all of the roly-poly things. I like to beat people up. I like to be in your face. And like Fred, you seen this little strong dude doing pull-ups and stuff at the end of practice, and like we were at ground control with Mackin one day. We was in there with Phil Smith, and me and Phil get finished working out. He goes, "Phil, let's do 50 push-ups." And I'm like, dude, like, so like he's physically, solid, strong little kid. But it's just amazing just watching him grow. so
did
fast.
Phil do the push-ups, or did he?
Oh yeah, he did.
Not to.
He did. I
Okay.
talk legit. So he'll pick up for me. I'll talk my trash as a coach, and like when I'm wrestling with the kids and stuff like that, just to play with their mind and see how they react to different things. I was just like, hey Phil, you gonna let this 7-year-old out working? You gonna let this 7-year-old? And he'll walk over. He got down. He did his push-ups. But I lost in the push-ups to my son already. So contest to my son. He got down and did 100. Got to 85 and started doing it with one hand, man.
Yeah, I'd pretend that I got a text message or something at that time. So I'd be like, yeah, I'll be right back and do them right after.
Oh yeah.
Got put on the spot to do 10 push-ups, but no. So why the Vipers? Is it just proximity, like close to where you live, or was there something that separated the Vipers from other programs or someone in the area? Obviously, you have ties to the Woodlawn Wolfpack, as you talked about. What ultimately made you decide on the Vipers program?
So me and like Walt, we have a really close relationship. He's known me since I was like in high school wrestling and stuff like that. And I helped a lot of his kids. Like a lot of the kids that came through the Wolfpack, I've been on the mat rolling around with them before. Just kind of gave him a little bit of tips here and there. But my son would always be around. He would always see Walt. He would always talk to Walt. So we would be in there. But once I get out of wrestling practice, like my practice ends at 5:36 in high school. And then my son practice started at 6:30, and then we got a practice there at 8:30, and then we're home by 9:30, 9:15. He's 6, 7 years old, so he get in the house. All right, Dad, can I eat dinner? Dad, can we do this? Can I, So it's like it took a lot to kind of rein him in. So he was going to bed around maybe 10:30 every night, and every day we had practice, and he couldn't really balance the school work aspect of it. But I knew Walt was a good coach, and I was like, all right, he respects him. And then when Cassie Lopez comes home, she went to Mount Hebron, and Coach Kilo was her coach. So me and her, I train her whenever she comes home. She's like, man, you got to go check out, you got to go talk to my coach. She was like, you guys will both get along. You're both crazy. And I was just like, all right, that sounds like my kind of guy. So I popped into a Hammond practice one day with I think I went to a high school practice. It might have been by myself. And I was like, all right, I like what my man's showing. So I brought JJ to the junior league practice. And JJ fell in love. So, the missus, she's already happy. Look, it's closer. You'll get home earlier. He'll get home earlier. So it just everything kind of really just fell into place. So, some days he would still train with Walt. Just off, I wouldn't be able to get out there in time, or if we had a match or something that day that fell on that day, I would just, hey, go ahead upstairs, you can practice with Walt today. He'd get pumped up. So, he would get 2 different styles of wrestling, 2 different aspects, 2 different styles of coaching. And he would react well to both of them. But when I started seeing how he was growing off the mat like that, one weekend he's crying after losses. Next weekend he's all right, okay, cool. And he was like, all right, don't try headlocks. All right, okay, I learned my lesson, Dad. And I was like, wow, he's 7 years old, having life lessons in wrestling already. So I was like, all right, let's keep him in there. And then he gravitated to a lot of the kids that were in there, really, 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 really good kids. Kale, he's in the corner, I think, for almost every match that JJ's wrestled. I hear his voice every match JJ wrestles. He gave JJ this nice speech after he lost at the state tournament. I think he lost by 1 point or something. And Kale gave him this. Huh?
Kale did this, you said?
Kale
okay.
is
So to put this in perspective, he's talking about Kale Kilo. At the time, I think was 9 years old when he's doing this. So. Yeah, 9-year-old kind of looking.
Well, Kale's already been on the podcast. He did that NCAA preview with you.
We don't talk about that. He made me look stupid when we were doing our NCAA predictions. I looked like a moron. He looked prepared. So we pretend that one never happened. But it's okay to talk about it now. I guess it's been long enough. I'm over it.
Yeah, man.
But no, that's that. And how old's JJ?
JJ's 8. At that time, I think JJ was 7. I think Kale was 9.
Gotcha. Cool. No, so, as a parent, when you're looking for a junior league program, it's not just, hey, let's find the closest thing to me. You want to find the right fit for your child. And I liked what you said there about, it seemed like he was taking everything in, really getting a lot out of it, and also growing as a person with it. So, hopefully it's more than just the wrestling technique as well as what they get out of it. But how long?
I think you'll see that with Kilo. Like, I mean, I think with the younger sort of generation, especially on the rec level, it's like, it can be a little bit of a crazy thing in there. And Joe like holds them accountable and is like, and the thing is like, once you set that expectation, it took a little bit, maybe like that first month, but once that expectation was set, everybody knew, okay, this is serious. We got to come in, and a couple of kids fall off, but I mean, when you're doing that, you stick with it. And then I think, they're like, okay, I like this. I like winning. I like, they don't think they need that structure or they don't want that structure, but they thrive once they get in it. So Kilo's a great coach. And obviously we've known him for a while. We wrestled together at Hammond, but when I saw him, especially with the junior league, I was like, man, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah. So like, who is that?
Yeah. I was like, okay. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. How long, do you intend on continuing coaching at the high school level, like as your son wrestles in junior league? Do you think at some point you might take a break just to be either a wrestling dad or even help out at the junior league level a little bit with a little bit more consistency, I guess?
Man, I'm gonna put it to you like this: until I can't tie my wrestling shoes, I will be on a wrestle. I'm gonna be that 80-year-old at the open tournament with his wrestling shoes on, in little kids corners, in high school kids corners, and then doing the masters division. Like, man, like I give, like, I'm not even gonna say I give. Wrestling gave me so much. I felt like I have a duty and a responsibility to give it to as many people who want to see it or who are looking for it and don't even know that they need it. So, like, man, there is no time, there's no cutoff for me. Like, for maybe 2 months straight, it was wake up, and like my 1-year-old, he doesn't go to daycare. Like, my youngest, he's with me all the time. So, like, wake up, I got my little guy with me. I handle my business throughout the morning and the day. After I drop my son off, do everything I need to, pick my son up from school, head straight to wrestling practice for the high school, leave straight from there, drive straight to Hammond, junior league practice, and then house, shower, and maybe 3 of the days out the week I was doing that. And then the other 2 days I had matches and tournaments and different stuff like that. And I was just like, man, I'm in a wrestling room, in a gym every day. This is heaven. Like, right around, like, and then, like, when I got towards the end, I started to get excited again because freestyle season was coming up. And I was like, get to coach my girls now? Yeah, I'm good. So it was just like that. As long as that fire is there, man, I'm 1,000 miles an hour all the way in.
It's crazy. Like, when people like mention you, they're always like, man, Wildey, man, he's just like everywhere. He's doing all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's great. And like, it sounds like, as long as you got the energy and you're into it, like, you're gonna have at it.
Like, you saw me in there the other day. I was like, I went and grabbed 2 college kids. I hopped in with the college. I call them the spaghetti gang because you over there, they doing the fun stuff, everything, flips, rolling. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. We doing shark bait? All right, well, I'm in one and then I'm out too. But like that, like it's fun, man. Like, and they learn so much and just pick up so much stuff. And I was like, man, if I could put this into my 22-year-old body, 18-year-old body, that'd be amazing.
It never works out that way, does it?
No. I was talking to my feet like, come on, feet, move. We're going right there because he's coming right here. And my feet was like, all right, well, we'll be right here when you get right there.
Right, yeah. The body always shuts down before by the time the brain reaches, full capacity. But no, and you started wrestling, fairly late for somebody that's as involved as you are now, I guess, to a degree. You came on at your freshman year and started wrestling at Woodlawn High School.
Oh yes, I literally got baptized. My brother that was just standing over here by the door, he told my high school coach to walk up to me. He was like, "Look, it's okay. Just smack him in the face and tell him he wrestling." So he told my coach to do.
Okay.
He walked over to me in the cafeteria and was like, "Hey, Justin, playing football?" I was like, "Nope. Mom want me to make sure I can get my grades and stuff in order, and make sure I can maintain, a good grade point average, everything like that. It's like Russell for 4 years, all year long. Summer, spring, wrestling camps. But I literally, I accidentally called him one day trying to call my father. Like, my father's name in my phone is Pops. And I called my high school coach Pops. And I called my father. And I was like, hey, what's up, Pops? Da-da-da-da. Because I had a wrestling question. And he was like, hey, what's up, son? And I was like, God dang, I didn't call my father. I was trying to call my coach. So, like, I developed that much of a relationship with him. Like, and it was just literally, I didn't even see how much he did for me until I graduated and started coaching. It was like, yo, saw this taking us to all of these tournaments? Like, I may have paid for, like, maybe 1 or 2 tournaments. But, like, I literally wrestled for all year long. All year long. Tournaments, USA wrestling cards. Like, he did all of that stuff. And I was just like, I didn't know you needed a USA wrestling card at first. Now I'm like, I actually just need to renew mine, I think, at the end of this month.
Now, are you stuck doing the same now for all these kids? And did they realize all
Oh, yeah. Man, like, the transitioning into coaching girls is like, they come to the table like, I have this ready, I have this ready, I have this ready, I have this ready. Where do you need me to go, coach? So I'm like, that kind of I guess, I'm not even going to say reignited a flame, because, like, you see me in the room. I'm gung-ho, I'm laughing, I'm making jokes and having fun. But they took me to another level. And it was just like, it was crazy, man. Just the preparation and everything. So.
Very cool. So now you do coach also, and probably a lot of your commitment, you do coach obviously at the high school level in season, but out of season, a lot of the commitment transitions over to the females and with the women's team in the state of Maryland. How do you get involved with it, and how's that experience been for you?
Man, it's been phenomenal. Like, the way I got introduced to it, I was coaching. I was actually helping out at a junior league practice, and a girl named Julianne Yates, came to a practice, and she might have been like maybe like a 10th grade or something. I was like, I want to wrestle. And the only girl in my head that I knew about wrestling at this point was Nicole Woodey. And I was like, I remember Nicole Woodey, but like, there hasn't been another Nicole Woodey. You have Ellen, and Monica Habermel, but outside of that, like, Nicole Woodey was like the I guess, Maryland OG for women's wrestling. Mm-hmm. She came from, she got trashed for like just the entire practice. And then coach would be like, all right, hit the steps. First one down, first one up. I'm like, oh, he's up here first. And then, we're doing agility drills. Everybody, how you get in practice get tough. Everybody making all the, she's just literally over there, face the same, like locked in. And I was like, oh, you scrappy, I like you. And then her mom would just keep bringing her to practice. And she would just come in and get by, come in and get by, come in and get by. She would go home, rinse off, come back and do it again. And I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, why does this girl keep coming back? And then I realized in my head, I was like, at the end of practice, like, we say it, it's your job, keep coming back. And that's legit what she did. So it was a practice out in Frederick at MMA and Sport. And the mom was like, look, man, we need a coach out here for these girls to run this clinic. Would you be interested? We'll pay you. And I was like, all right, I got out there like maybe 4 or 5 girls. It was Anya Knappenberger. It was Cassie Lopez. It was Julianne Yates. It was Nicole Woodey. And it was Olivia Rondo. And they all were like, oh, man, like, and I'm in there. One girl, Anya, her nose might have been broken. I don't know. Her mouth was bleeding. She's in there like, yeah, I'm good. Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu. And then now she's wrestling, and she's in like the 6th or the 7th grade. I'm like, yo, what are they putting in these girls' cereal? Right. And then, yeah, so it kind of grew from there. So I went to a training camp because they were like, look, man, we need somebody to coach these girls. And I went out there, and I knew a couple of them that were already out there just from, coaching high school, seeing Destiny Benjamin, Nicole Wanger, who both are like, Nicole Wanger is going to West Point, and she's at West Point now, and Destiny Benjamin is wrestling at Fairmount. And they're like, coach, would you want to go to Fargo with us? I'm like, want me to? It's legit my answer, almost all the time when these girls ask me. Next thing I know, we're in a room. It's me, Earl Blake, Seta Sarney, Maggie Palmore, Olivia Rondo, Cassie Lopez. We're in a room, and Laura Chang, all in there just training, and I don't even know how Earl Blake showed up there, but it was just like we're in there like literally just grinding. We was in there 2 hours, took an hour break, had another 2 hours of solid practice, and then we go out to Fargo, and they were like, yeah, well, you know, we need a women's coach. All right, okay, cool, no problem. I go out there. 3 girl cadets. We had 3 of the 4 girls that were wrestling was in the semifinals.
Awesome.
So, and it was just like, and 2 of them was in a position to win. One took the girl down, caught her on the leg lace, rolled through twice. She's up 6-4 or something like 8-4, and stops on a big old stage and goes. You see her just pick her head up and was like, yo, I'm winning. I'm leg lacing this girl. Then the girl gets out of it. So it was like the moment got really big for her. And then she ended up taking 3rd. The other girl ended up taking 4th. And another girl ended up taking 4th. But I was like, man, we got 4 Fargo freaking placers. Like, this is phenomenal. And then I think 3 of them lost in the blood round in the juniors. So it was just like, I was like, man, like these girls are like legit hammers. And then they just keep coming back. They just keep growing. Like I legit don't have to ask them to do anything.
Yeah.
I get calls from them. Hey coach, can we practice tomorrow? Hey coach, can we do this? Hey coach, if I come to your house, can we hand fight? I'm like, yo, no, I'm not coming to my house and we're not hand fighting. No. Like, let me have a day. Like, so it's awesome. Like I legit give them the knowledge the way that it's given to me from my coach. Like one of the girls, Seta, I have her running practice. Okay, cool. All right, we're about to show this outside singles straight to a lace. All right, show them, break it down for them. Because 1, that's how I learned it. That's how I became such a technician. And 2, that's how they learn it and can pretty much essentially do what I'm doing and giving it back to somebody else.
Okay. Now, how long ago was that? How many years have you been doing this now?
So, I think 3 years now. 3 years now. Been a girls coach.
So how does I'm pretty ignorant with now. Like I obviously know the top female wrestlers, but pretty ignorant with female wrestling on the national stage. How does Maryland stack up as a state against is it about the same as it is with the boys? Like, you know, where your top tier states, your Pennsylvania's, Ohio's, New Jersey, etc., or is Maryland a little bit higher up there in female wrestling?
So we have some bangers in Maryland, but it's like the drop off behind them in like each weight class is tough. But like Scott Nicky, 100 pounds. She's ranked 6th in the nation. She's on the cadet on the world team. Julianne Mocha, she wrestles for I want to say John Carroll.
Yeah.
John Carroll. She won the Franklin tournament, the Parkville tournament, and she's ranked 6th in the nation. Then you got Anya Knappenberger, who's ranked 11th, and she's like 118. And then you have you had Heidi, who's ranked like top 20, who's around like 27. A girl who's coming up right now is Sarah Sunday, who's ranked like she just beat a ranked girl actually this past weekend. Sarah was unranked. She just beat the 22 ranked girl in the country decisively. And then, you know, we got Seta ranked 17th. She probably will be higher, but she got hurt at Fargo last year. You got Jalen Hyman. You know, you've seen Jalen.
Sure.
You know, she's ranked 19th. You know, heavyweight.
Tough, man. Yeah, Jalen's from Randallstown High School. She's a Baltimore County girl, but she'll come and train. She trains a lot and she'll come to champions practices as well. And our big joke is I always tell her, you know, stop being such a girl. It's like what I'll say every time that, my shoulder hurts. I stop being a girl. But man, really tough. Like, is there a big difference that you see, or is there any differences in coaching females than there is in coaching males?
I mean, I feel like it's differences all around because it's like Jalen, for example, I could call, hey Jalen, that looks like trash. You need to clean that up. You know, but like, you know, she can take, you know,
sure.
I guess
hard criticism
like that.
Right.
Yeah. She could take stuff like that. And then I have other girls who I was just like, if I talk to them, they retain it and it gets to them so much better. Because a lot of them have had coaches that'll just yell at them. And then it's no instruction. Like I've yet to have to yell at one of my girls' practices or at one of the girls that I've coached. I've had one instance where I was like, look, like you need to get it together, or we're not going to do this anymore. Like you're not going to be training, traveling, nothing. And the very next day, she apologized to the coach, the referee, the girl, another coach who's just a part of the state, and then went on to win and place at the tournament. I was like, yo, like this is crazy. Like the growth was just that fast. It was just that fast, and it kind of it threw me off. It was like, you get the kids who throw their head gear and can't handle a loss.
Sure.
She legit faced her first loss to a girl who didn't even place at the tournament. She, this was just out of state, and it was her first national tournament. And then learned from it, grew from it, apologized, and just went on a run. And I was just like, these are the type of things that I look for. But then I have girls who if they get in the room and they get punished all day, it's like I gotta pull them aside. I gotta talk to them. I had one girl who probably is like, I don't know, she's a beast. She's a beast. She's one of the best girls that I've coached. But she would get whooped every day in practice by a bigger girl. And she in the office, she punched the wall, hit the desk. I'm like, pull yourself together. Like, you're in practice. Like, you're getting beat on. It's okay. It's the purpose of coming to practice. You learn X, Y, and Z. But then when the lights cut on, she shines. She rocks out. So, like, her, I talk to. Like, it's a certain kind of level of a relationship that we have to where, so she understands, all right, okay, cool, coach is yelling at me because I need to do X, Y, and Z. And with my boys, they're like, I'm not messing with Coach Wildey because Wildey's crazy. I'll yell at you and you're like, I'll lean on you all the way into you and you're like, yo, I love you, but when you get into a match, you down by, you up by 2 and it's 30 seconds left. You don't need to be in the over under, hey, work here, hand fight, keep your hands low, circle. And they'll understand it and they'll take it like that. Like my boys, they'll try me. The girls, they don't. It's just like, all right, okay, no problem. Right. And a lot of them tell me that simply because when girls get in the room, this it used to be like this for a while. Girls, you'll get 2 girls in the room. One will be Jalen size, and one will be 130 pounds, and they'd be like, all right, well, your girl, go wrestle. Yeah. So to have a coach in that corner who I guess kind of really just invest their time and really believe in them, they'll, hey, cool, we about to go run 10 miles with these 20-pound weight vests on. They're like, okay, coach, let's do it. So it's different all the way around. But I have my differences with girls. Like I run into, just different things like that. I've had to go to Rite Aid before at a tournament because,
things. Gotcha.
Yeah. So.
Right. Now, are the numbers growing? Have they been increasing pretty steadily across the board? I mean, it seems like female wrestling across the country is getting huge. We obviously, MPSSAA just started the Maryland State Wrestling Tournament female division as well. Do you see the numbers of your team steadily increasing year after year?
Yes. And the one thing that I've noticed in my time doing this is once they come around and they get around, like the reason I run all girls, like I personally think girls need to wrestle boys and they need to wrestle girls. Because like if a girl's best shot is a double leg, she's not going to hit it. Jalen's not going to hit a double leg on a guy that's 170 pounds. He's 190, cutting to 170. But when she's wrestling girls,
I have a couple of kids that she would absolutely finish on their boys, but that's I get what you're saying.
Well, that's a good question. So how are they, I mean, like, obviously you said like, they tend to team up 2 girls, even if they're not the same weight. Like, how's the training going? Because the numbers aren't quite there. And obviously, you've been, recently been running those girls practices, but like typically like coming up to Fargo, were you having all girls training practices or were they just training with the Maryland team and you were kind of focusing on them?
So what I would do is I would run, they would have that individual practice go behind. Oh, yes. Little man's behind me, but I would leading up to Fargo, like everybody have their own practices and things like that. Certain girls would practice with me a lot more, like Seta, Jalen, Maggie. Like we'd be training, we'd be together maybe 3 times out of the week, and then a couple other days they might be in the gym or they might go to Capital Wrestling Club or Bullis or anywhere like that. But outside of that, like it's leading up to it, it's a solid couple that are legit with me a couple times throughout the week. And then on Saturdays, I would run like a 2-session clinic, where I would just run 2 practices in one day. Like, I would call it a clinic, but it was really 2 practices in one day. The technique, solid technique, basic, just, making sure everything, positioning, everything is where it needs to be for 2 hours straight. We let them relax, and then for about maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, we just in there hammering. And then sometimes, like, one of the things that will help speed up, like, the curve for the women is Victoria Francis. She would pop in the room, and it'll be me, her, Jalen Hyman, Seta Sarni, and a group of 4. And you got this, Olympic, well, she's qualified. She already qualified. So, I think, ranked 4th in the world right now, 72 kilograms for, the United States being in the room. And we're literally all in that discrepancy with each other. So it was so many different things that we would do. But a lot of them, they would go to their regular practices. Like, Jayla was in Champions at Wrestle practices. She was in Grand Control practices all the time. I would pop out there. We ran an all-girls all-girls practice there one day, with a guy from Egypt. So, it's a lot of different opportunities and stuff for them. The main thing is getting the information to them to where it's all like they need, like, you really got to lead the horse to the water, like, for right now. Like, you have some girls who are just like, look, I'm just looking for somewhere to wrestle. Like, it's a girl who drives from Walkersville, Maryland to train on Sundays, all the way out to where we practice at. So, like, the goal is to grow it as best as possible to get all of these girls training with each other. So when we go to these national tournaments, there was a Maryland presence that felt like, all right, okay, like, I don't know what it is about these Maryland girls, but they're always in your face. They don't stop. They punishing you with their hands, like, the way it's always just something that's really just known about Maryland when you get to a tournament. Like, with PA, they're going to ride you and beat the crap out of you on top. That's what they're going to do. So I was like, all right, okay, we need to have our own type of presence. So, our girls, hey, look, I need to make sure y'all in their face. I need to make sure y'all pressuring them. I need to make sure y'all staying in good position and just really being relentless. Like, nobody likes to be in front of anything that's relentless. That's the best way I can look at it. Nothing. Regardless of what you are. If it's something relentless standing in front of you, you either going to get ran over or you're going to move out the way. But that's the main thing, man. It's just getting them training opportunities where they know they can be themselves, and it's a lot more comfortable, because you'll get girls in a room who are solid, and it's like they'll feel like they have to prove themselves, but essentially, like, they're wrestling practice. Like, I walk into a room, I'm just like, all right, I'm in wrestling practice. It is what it is. I'm running today.
Yeah. Now, what's the ultimate goal? Is at some point you want to get to the point where you have a full roster that meets up, or maybe even meets up in a few different locations, have to make it, maybe even cut it up regionally because it gets so big. Is that like the main goal, is to put like one full lineup together that can actually travel across the country and compete together?
So the main goal, like my personal goal is, like, I want to have my own facility where I can wrestle in a facility 365 days a year, because I know it's some crazy kids out there who will be like, hey, look, I know it's Christmas Eve. I got a tournament on the 27th and I'm trying to get in the room and I want to stay active. And I can say, all right, okay, cool. Go ahead, lock in. Like Mackin, I know, you're a big advocate on really just kind of giving kids a space to really train and really just kind of achieve their goals. And like, that's pretty much what I want to do. But overall with girls, in Maryland, I want to be able to say, like, all right, okay, we have, they just opened the RTC, the DMV RTC. I wanted to where feel comfortable enough. All right, well, I'm ranked 4th in the state of Maryland, so let me go down here so I can wrestle the number 1 and the number 2 girls, so I can sharpen my skills. So when we go to Columbus Day duels or the Olympic duels or Fargo, it's a I guess a plethora of girls that have been training and banging with each other. Where it's like, all right, okay, cool, we're ready to get out here, and I'm the type of guy that I'm not going to tell you that, hey, look, Fargo's can get expensive. I'm not even going to say can get. Fargo is expensive. Going all the way to Fargo to go 0-2 is, I feel like it might be a waste of time for some kids, depending on I guess their level, or just, like their financial backing. So if I have a kid who's like, I want to go to Fargo, and I'm like, let's not go to Fargo. Let's go to this tournament right here. It's a really solid tournament. You'll get your growth. You'll get the bang for your buck. You can get a couple matches in, and let's build up to going there. But like I said, if you have the financial means, but look, I want to go to Fargo. I want to see how I feel. All right, okay, cool. Let's rock.
Yeah. I'm big on that. Like, I know I might be in the minority of it, but even going 0-2, I just coming up, and I went to Fargo twice coming up. Never made the podium or anything like that, and had a couple of really bad runs in doing Greco and freestyle out there. But, I just remember I had a teammate, Russell Tebelev, that he was, I think his record was like 12-26 as a sophomore wrestling. The next year he's third in the state. And had 40 wins, and they end up becoming a state champion eventually. And he went to Fargo, and I think that was like a big – and it wasn't just the trip to Fargo. It was the preparation, going to all the local tournaments, building up to it and preparing for it. I think if somebody really does put in the work and put in the time necessary and focuses while they're out there, being around the best guys in the country, I think it does benefit them even going 0-2. Me personally, that's just my personal opinion with it.
So I perfect example. The guy, what's his name? He goes to Loyola. James Conner. I think his name is James Conner.
Yeah, like a 52-pounder.
Yeah, big strong kid. First year in Fargo, I think maybe in 2017. It might have been 2017. We're out there and
Conway, right? Isn't it Conway?
Conway.
Yep.
Conway. Yeah, tall kid, and I'm working out with him. I'm warming up with him and like head-butting me. Sorry, coach. But he's super respectful. Every time I went to a camp, he was there. Every time I went to a clinic, he was there. I was like, all right, okay, maybe he's just one of those like, those real like funky, wonky type kids. And I was like, all right, get out there. I think he might have went 0-2 in freestyle and maybe 1-2 in Greco. And then he came back to Maryland and just like, I guess he got that rub while he was out there. Came back to Maryland, went on a tear, and then came back the following year to Fargo. And he might have went like maybe like 2-2 in freestyle, and then went like 4-2 in Greco. And I'm like, man, that's a really big jump.
Sure.
But like that's definitely very, very beneficial. Like when I was in high school, my coach told me, look, man, you need to get the states you need to get the regionals as a sophomore. You need to get the states as a junior. So when you get to states as a senior, you've already been to regionals, you know what it feel like. You've already been to states, you know what it feel like. So right. I was just like, I'm like, you gotta feel that environment. Like,
sure.
I perfect example, like myself, when like if the moment is real, like when they say like when them lights shine on you, like when I was this is in 06, I got to the state semifinals and wrestling a kid, Colin Ledbetter, who's 40-0. I get the first takedown. And you hear the crowd go, 2. And it was like, after that, I had perfect match freaking like recollection. Like I could tell you everything to the setup, to the shot, to which way he stepped, probably all the way back to like the 9th grade. After the crowd said 2, it was just a bunch of lights turning, and I don't know what happened after that. And I was like, so this is what it means to kind of feel that moment. And then after that, I was like, all right, okay, cool, I'm game.
Right. Yeah. And I do think just kind of being around the best people, there's almost like improvement by osmosis. And it's a mental edge that the kids, I know that it's not the same, but the New Way Summer Nationals, and Jason, you've been there before in New Jersey. There's still some solid kids there, and they call it a national tournament. Not the level of Fargo by any stretch, but, I had a kid that was possibly the worst wrestler. Sebastian Gomez.
That's the one who hurt Jalen now.
His first year wrestling was the worst kid I've ever seen. And like his dad's his dad wanted to talk to him before he went. And his dad said, why do you think this is a good idea after what he just went through this season? So I started telling him just like being around like that level of competition. And, now when he sees 30 or 40 mats laid out, when he steps into the county tournament with 3 mats, it's not going to seem like that big of a deal. And his dad's like, all right, well, I like this. I'm with it. Like, how do you think he's going to do? I said, he's going to get killed. Like, no. But, it's he's got no chance of doing anything. But he gets out there and he gets tech fault his first match. And in the second match, he has a kid that is also a novice level. He's winning 4-0, gets headlocked with 10 seconds left, loses 5-4. And he comes off the mat, and it's like, I said, look, you can hang with the best kids in the country. Look at what you're doing here. And it's not my fault. He's too dumb to realize that kid was just as bad as he was. But I hear him talking about it like, I'm right about to turn a corner. Like, I'm hanging with the best kids in the country. And it's like, man, he believed me. I couldn't believe that. Because he gets good grades. He's a pretty smart kid. But he turned the corner and went to he qualified for the state tournament the next year, which was a big deal for him. And, I really think that those experiences and those opportunities really help kids grow and kids build. Do you push your kids at Woodlawn to do the same type things?
I do my best to push them to kind of really like get to these different things. Like I had like, my 95-pounder Briscoe. He's a kid that I was like, all right, okay, cool. You need to start getting out here. We actually took him to NHSCA's, and he lost in the blood round.
Okay,
lost by 1 point. Hit a Granby with like 4 seconds left. Put the kid on his back, and put the kid on his back. And the referee was like, "Yeah, time was up." But I didn't know about the challenge rule. It was my side. It might have been my second year there. I didn't know about the challenge rule, and I was running around all day because I took 2 girls down there, and I was running around just trying to watch a bunch of kids wrestle. And then when we got to, I was watching TJ Stewart match. His dad was like, "I got my 100," and I was like, "100? What are you talking about? $100 for what?" He's like, "The challenge." And he's like, "You need $200 down." I was like, "So you mean to tell me I could have challenged this kid match and he'd be All-American right now?" I was just like, But essentially, like that's why you go to the tournaments and stuff like that. So I was like,
NHSCA. What he's talking about is that if you disagree with the call at the next break in action, you can approach and challenge for $100. So you can put $100 on there. If it gets overturned, they'll video review it just like they do in college. If I think it's to stop people from challenging every single call. But if they overturn it, you get your money back. If they don't, the NHSCA takes the money. It's probably cash grabbing a little bit too. But that's what I had Phil Smith out there a couple of years ago.
Some like big, billionaire guy just coming in challenging everything.
everything.
I had Phil Smith there a couple of years ago, and Phil put the kid to his back, and the ref was at the other side and had to run around. And he, counted 1 back point, but he was obviously on his back for longer. And his dad's screaming, "Challenge that! Challenge that thing!" So I pulled my cash out and put it up there. And then, his dad's going crazy about me challenging.
You talking about Big Phil?
Well, yeah, Big Phil was.
Oh yeah.
And I turned to him and I said, "What? You're paying me back if we don't win this thing, right?" And he goes, "No, you're the one who pulled your money out. That's not my money." And I started taking it out like that. And I said, "Oh, whatever. I'll find a hooker with 9 fingers," is what I think I said. If we don't win this thing, I think that's what I said. But I'll shop on the discount rack tonight. But yeah, I mean, luckily it got overturned. But no, that's like that's a thing out there. I didn't realize it was the first time I went. The first time there was a bad, a questionable call either. And sometimes it's just the referee being out of position that does it. But I didn't realize it either, and thought, man, I wish I would have had that $100. I probably didn't have $100 by name the first time I experienced it.
One thing that I realized, so like ever since I started coaching girls, I've been to world team trials twice. I've been to freaking folk style nationals and been to NHSCA's 3 or 4 times now. And I realized these are the same referees that are there for like 4 days in a row. Same match, same calls, getting yelled at by parents. So I'm like, man, that second, third day, it's just like 1, 2, no bad. So I was just like, I'm like, all right, okie dokie, I see how it is. So like just learning those little different things like that, going to all those different tournaments is like it's very, very, very educational. And then when I come home, I'm just like, all right, okay, kind of know how to play these guys a little bit better now, dealing with all these national referees.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think one thing that we need to keep in mind is that, like, most of the wrestling referees have a wrestling background, and they develop relationships with either other referees or coaches that are coming to these things. And you think, like, when we go to a national tournament, and New Way's an example of it. Jason, you went out with us last year, and it's coach all day. and then right when the coaching's done, get the kids where they need to be, and then we're going to go out and do adult-type get-togethers with one another. And, I mean, Freiert threw up in a casino, for God's sakes. They wake up the next morning. I assume the referees
They didn't even kick me out or nothing either.
No. Well, yeah. You made it to the trash can, I think. Oh, no, you threw up in your hand. You went the sprinkler. It was going
oh my gosh.
But, it's like you don't get a chance to get away from the everyday life, and you're getting together with some of your old buddies and trying to take a few back. I bet the referees do the same thing, and that's why they seem so slow, on some of the counts. They're probably
Never thought about that.
Yeah, it's no, that's cool. So what's the best tournament that you've been to in the off season? Like, what's the one that you think has run the best, that has the highest level wrestling? What is like the mecca for wrestling in the off season to you?
So I'm a go for the guys. It was Fargo. Freestyle there, Fargo, man, I think I probably saw some of the best athletes, some of the best wrestling. But for the girls, for sure, it was World Team Trials. World Team Trials for the girls, man. Fargo champs losing in the quarters. I'm like just getting blown off the mat. It's girls. So for like World Team Trials, it's UWW age limit. So you could be a freshman in college and wrestle a junior in high school, and that junior in high school smash you, and you're like what is going on? So like that tournament was phenomenal. But I saw the best scrambling I've seen at NHSCAs. Like I love good solid scrambles. Like some of the best ones, like Phil's finals match with Pickle.
Yeah.
They got into that first takedown, and you hear the commentators go, I don't know who this Phil Smith kid is, but man, is he fun to watch?
Yeah.
But it's like you get numb to watching Phil scramble. I've seen him since he was like 6 years old, and he just roly-poly all over the place.
Never changes his expression? Like,
never.
Never.
I'm just like, dude, you're sitting in a split. The guy has you cradled, and you just sitting there with the regular face on. I'm over here yelling at you, coach yelling at you, your dad yelling at you. But like his like I like seeing relationships with the parents and their kids, like I see with Phil in particular, and his dad and his mom, man, like at states just going crazy, or even at his dad's a character.
Oh, for sure.
Dad's a character. Where was we at? Was it counties? It might have been counties. Hey, finish with something slight. And then he hits the kid with like a leg cradle or a leg cradle or a leg tilt or something crazy. And I'm like, dude, get out of here.
Yeah. He's and that's something like, Phil is somebody that you've developed a relationship with over the past couple of years, and one of the best wrestlers in the state, probably the best I've ever coached. And there's some very talented ones that I've had the privilege of working with, but he's just a level.
He's different.
Yeah. How did that relationship get started with you and Phil?
So when Phil was like the small one, he was fat size, his little brother size, maybe a little smaller. I was in maybe just getting out of high school, and me and Walt had a relationship, and like I'd worked with like the Dominic Reyes, who goes to Johns Hopkins. Like, he's one of my favorite kids I've ever coached. Like he just literally sit in front of you and be a sponge. And I would come in and I would roll around with him. I roll around with Justin Briscoe, Kyrie Briscoe. I just roll around with all of them. DeAndre, who went to Digital Harbor, and Phil was like so little. So man, him like I was just like, all right, man, he would just scramble. We would just roll around like 2 to 3 minutes, just rolling around, just getting places. And then his dad will be like, hey man, I want you to work with my son on his feet. All right, okay, cool. Just as he got older, he started doing this. He started getting bigger and bigger. So we were getting ready for what tournament? Was it Super 32? I think we was getting ready for Super 32 or something like that. And he missed weight.
Oh, I know.
And I'm like, the week before we did that week right before Super 32, we didn't do anything together. But before that, me and him were training like heavy. We coming to ground control, sure. Getting it in. And I was like, all right, he locked in, he's going to do great. And then I get down there, and I'm like, man, who's this little kid wrestling all these big guys? And his dad, I texted his father. He was like, man, that Joker missed weight. You know how he is.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went down there and leaned on him. And then I don't know what happened. He just locked back in. And towards like the end of the season, was getting ready for NHSCAs. And we were just literally in there like maybe 2 days a week, 3 days a week. And just in there wrestling together. I'm putting that little kid through freaking heck. And we just I don't know, we just developed a relationship just being over the years, him watching me come in the room so much and just different things like that.
Sure.
And just being like, I don't know, just when you wrestle a kid, this is one of the things that I would do with the Wolfpack. When I would walk in there, that first day, it's like, who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. So the first day I walk in there, I beat the crap out you. Literally beat the crap out you. DeAndre, who went there, I want to say he might be at Iowa Central now. I think he's out there now. But DeAndre Reed?
Yep, yeah.
The first day I walked in the room, Walt's like, hey, Justin, wrestle with DeAndre. And DeAndre goes, yeah, you don't got to show me nothing. That's just wrestle. I said, okay. I went over to my bag. I grabbed my mouthpiece. I put my mouthpiece in my mouth, and I beat the crap out of him for like 7 minutes straight. And he was like, hey, man, show me that thing you did. And it was just like a relationship was just developed. And then at that point on, it was just like, I could talk to him, hey, when you doing this, keep your hands here, eye feet there, And it just like, it been like with Phil, he was just always around. His younger brother is coming up in the Wolfpack now, and I would be there for the Wolfpack. Him and JJ roll around, me and Phil roll around, but like he developed, like my son, probably calling him Uncle Phil soon. Like he's just been around for so long, and I've just watched him grow up for so long. That's how it just manifested, I guess. Like I look for kids who really just like have that same kind of like drive. I don't really want to have to call kids and be like, hey man, you trying to practice today? Hey man, you want to go to this tournament? I like those kids. So I don't even like it. If you're awful, but you call me every weekend, hey coach, is there another tournament coming up? All right, okay, I'll see you in practice on Sunday. You want to go for a run on Monday? Like kids like that. I love working with kids like that. And he's definitely was one of those kids, man. When he was locked in,
his dad is. At least
yes.
His dad is. Sometimes dad's got to kick him in the ass. And I called him one day that I was like, say, where you at? I drove all the way out here. Where you at? He's like, man, I'm in the house. I called his father. I said, hey, man, where you at? He said, man, go pick that. He said, man, go pick that joker up. I was like, all right. I called him, man. I said, hey, put your stuff in your bag. I'm about to come get you. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Right.
Like, all right, I'm going to tell him. He was like, I'm going to tell his mother you're going to be ready.
My lift bill with him is like it's probably over $1,000 by now for the amount of lifts I've had to get him from point A to point B. But once he's there, working his ass off for sure.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a fun dynamic too, or a weird one that I just remember you would be at ground control, I'd be there at the same time, and you'd be off away from me working with Phil. And people, at my teammates at ground control would say to me like, "Isn't that your wrestler? Like, why aren't you working?" And I don't know. My mindset with it was, I thought this is going to be a kid that wrestles at the college level. He's going to have new coaches that he has to deal with. I want him to get used to learning from new people and having a new voice. If it's my voice in his ear all the time. So it wasn't easy, but sometimes it's tough, but necessary for coaches to take a step back and allow somebody else that, as long as you agree with their skill set and what they're, the message that they're delivering, take a step back and release the reins a little, let somebody else take it. So that was, I don't even know if you realized that, but that was.
Oh man, I'm not even gonna lie. When I'm in my wrestling room, like when I'm in my Woodlawn wrestling room, it is very rare that somebody else will walk in there. And while I'm coaching, they like, no, if you come into my room like this, and this is legit how I am. If I walk into your gym, I'm walking into your house. I'm not just gonna open your refrigerator. So I get in there and that's why I was so hesitant to come down to ground control, because like I know how I am. When I walk in the room, I'm okay, cool, I'm running. I'm just another guy in here. I'm just a student. Like I think out of all of the practices I've been to at ground control, you've never really seen me in the middle of a circle teaching anything. I come in, sit to the side, I learn, and like I pick up stuff. I pick up stuff from any and everybody who's in there, because it's I'm built a certain type of way. and that guy might be built a different type of way. So he might put his hands here when he hit his duck under. I'm like, all right, okay, I wonder if that'll work for me. Or I'll just put it in the bag to where it's off. I have to teach someone who's, you know, has the same like physical traits or things like that as that guy. I can say, all right, okay, cool, wait, put your hands right here. Don't put them right there. I got long arms and long fingers. So, you know, like just different things like that. Like I look for like different styles. And like, and a lot of times when I was wrestling Phil, I was literally just doing a bunch of different stuff to make him as uncomfortable as possible. Because when he was wrestling kids his age in Maryland, it's a certain respect level that they give to him.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, nah, you can't do that. You wrestling. I talk trash and Phil ear. Hey, if he was over to jail, this is what I'd be doing to you if he was in this position. And like, he's like I mental warfare. Like, look, all right, okay, cool. If you had snacks on your table, I would take them and eat them. Like, I'm talking into his ear while we wrestling and different stuff like that. Because I know he's going to get to a level where he's not that top guy. Like, once he gets in a college, it's going to be different. It's going to be a punch to the face. So, you know, like, I want him to be able to get there and really just be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because that's the main thing in wrestling. Like, you got to be able to be in the worst position possible and understand, okay, cool, I need to do this, and this. And it's going to hurt like heck finishing this double leg because they on my chin right now, or they cross-facing me and they're bony. But I need to get this done so I can get to here. But,
yeah, well, if I can give you any advice, it would be make sure you tell them afterwards that, hey, you know I'm doing this because I love you, right? if they think you're being a bully, they're going to go off to college and become a beast, and they're going to come back and whoop your ass so badly. David Hollingsworth, who I saw today, I used to beat on him every single day in the practice room, and now he's a two-time junior college All-American. Now he's going to be wrestling at Wartburg. He is looking for the opportunity. I throw my shoes away anytime he walks in because I know that ass whooping is going to be bad. He can't wait to give it to me. And he's certainly capable. I grabbed him one time off the mat, and he kind of body locked me back, and I thought, oh my God, like I'm a child in this guy's hands now. So be a little careful. Just remind him that you're doing it because you love him.
Look, that's how I am with JJ. I know once JJ hit like 17 years old, I know he's going. I'm being a little up there in age. I'm like, hey Phil, remember when I used to train you? I need you to come home and wrestle with JJ. Yeah, he talking to me crazy.
Yeah.
But, like I always make sure they see both sides. Like that's why most of my kids think I'm freaking crazy or I'm bipolar or quad polar or how many personalities you think they have. I'll be a drill sergeant and then I'll be a caring mother at like the drop of a dime. So like I had a 182 pounder. Like you might have seen my 182 pounder. The guy with the dreads who's built like he's from Wakanda, mixed with 300. But like he was wrestling a kid, and he's in the semifinals. It's 2 seconds left, and he goes to his back, and he gets pinned. I'm like, and I went in on him. And then, like, maybe like 30 minutes went by, and I walked over to him. I said, Joe, you know I love you, right? You know I'd do anything for you, right? He was like, yeah, coach, I know. I apologize. And then he proceeded to almost kill the next person that he wrestled, and I felt so bad for them. But like I always make sure, you know, because like a lot like the kids that I coach some kids, you know, who don't have a father in their background, don't have a mother in their background, or they live with their grandmother and they don't even know who their parents are. So like I know I run into kids like that, so I do my best to give them both sides. You need to know that I will kill you, but you need to know that I love you. So like you need to be able to see both sides.
Sure. Yeah. Now,
figuratively kill them.
Do you see that with the women's team as well, or is that more at Woodlawn where you see that?
So like I've had some girls, you know, who came to me that are in foster care. I've had some girls who who legit. The Jalen is probably the toughest kid I've ever coached. Like mentally, just the toughest kid I've ever coached, and it's like it amazes me just seeing what she does. Like I took her down to Summer Southeast Nationals. She wrestled. She was like 180. Her weight class was 164, so she put on some corona weight, and then she wrestled the number 3 ranked heavyweight in the nation, and she beat her, I think, like 4-0 or 5-0.
Wow, great!
Like heavyweight. Like this girl second at folk style nationals. Like the girl is a beast. but Jalen just locked in. Like, look, like she literally has a shovel. She's willing to dig deeper than anybody else has to dig. Her versus Sawyer Graham in the state finals. Like, that might have been one of my favorite matches to watch. It was 1-1, 13 seconds left, and then she gets, puts the girl to her back. And I'm just like, some kids, they just got that. They've been through so much stuff, whereas they got that extra little bit of thing that you need to get over the hump. But like, kids, like, I had boys who was in foster care, girls who was in foster care. My sister, she works in a juvenile facility. She came to work out one day, and I, like, literally my team captain, she had him, his older brother, and his two older brothers and his younger brother at her juvenile facility. And when I say these guys are in practice, they're barking. He's in the practice, quiet as a church mouse. She was like, "Is that Davis?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." Respectful. Like, they're really good kids. It's just the lack of guidance. So I just do my best to make sure, like, I'm that light at the end of the tunnel that can point you in the right direction to get you where you need to go. But like, that's a lot of the reason why. Like, I was the youngest of 6. I was poor when I was a kid. We had fun, but I didn't realize it until I got older. Like, I didn't realize, like, why didn't I have a bed when we was younger? But my son has his own room, his own bed, his own video game, and all this other stuff. So it makes me understand that journey that they're on, pretty much. So that's one of the main reasons why I give back and see it, that they need to have both sides, both aspects.
Now, do you think being a father has helped you with that as far as like the caring side of coaching, or did you get that passed down from your coaches, or a little bit of both?
The caring side from my coach, I don't know. I know my coach loved me from what he did. He was like, "I love you through action," but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. But if I call him right now and I get off the phone, all right, man, I love you, boy. That's how I get off the phone with him now. But the caring aspect of it, like, I think I have 4 older sisters. I have like 4 aunts. I might have like 2 male cousins, and I have my brother. So it's just like I was surrounded by women, but they're like hard women. So it's just like it came from just kind of having, like, all right, my mom was pretty much like how I am as a coach. Choke you, I'm gonna beat you, and I'm gonna hug you, and I'm gonna tell you I love you, and let's go get some ice cream. And that's kind of like my coach's philosophy. With my girls, if I have to do anything, all right, cool, let's go get some ice cream. And everything is hunky-dory. With my guys, hey, boom, let's stop at 7-Eleven and get you something to drink. Y'all good, straight, make sure they don't got to walk home. Just different things like that, man. Like, it's that caring aspect, it just came from me seeing how much my mother really, like, she wasn't the, "I love you, son," but it was just moments in life where she would show through action, like, "Yo, I love you, and I'll do anything for you." Like, she said these 3 words. Well, not these 3 words. She said this. I was at Clarion, and I needed to get my tuition paid. And we were literally sitting at the desk, and my mother looks at the lady in her face and goes, "Whatever you need me to do, I'm willing to do to keep my son in school so he can keep wrestling." And I looked at my mother, and I was like, "Man, I knew my mother loved me." All those remotes and everything you threw at me, but I like things like that is what really showed me, like, like how I show caring through action. I'm not a really affectionate type person.
Okay. Now, you talked about Clarion a little bit. What was that experience like? Like we said, you're a 2-time state placer in Maryland. In the big scheme of things, the D1 level, that's kind of small potatoes, not trying to, minimalize it or anything like that. But what was that experience like, and what was the adjustment like when you got there?
All right. So if you know me, like, I'm a cardio junkie. Like, I'm a cardio junkie. Like, I'm not stopping. I'm not slowing down. Pace, pressure. I got to college the first 2 weeks. So I graduated in 2007, and I started in Clarion at 2009. But the first 2 weeks of practice was, I would walk out with a trash can behind the door. My teammate would kick it over the slider to me, and I would hurl in that trash can. And I'm like, I was like, what is going on? Practice is, practice time is the same. Everything's the same. It might even been a little cooler up there, because I was up north in the middle of nowhere. But the level of competition that was in that room I was in a room with Bexar Emirano. He beat Jordan Burroughs at the Rio Olympics. I was in a room with James Fleming, Hadley Harrison, 100-win graduate All-American, freaking Jason Ivanko, 5th year senior, 100-win All-American. And I'm like, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my class schedule conflicted with the practice schedule. So I had to do, it was me, Hadley Harrison, Jay Ivanko in a room for an hour and a half. And I would be like, all right, guys, we're not leaving until I get the skate. All right, guys, we're not. And that 1 hour and a half would turn into 2 hours. And it was just like, and I felt like for like maybe like the first like month and a half, I was like, yo, dude, like I was like, do I belong here? I'm really getting trashed right now. And I came home and I was just like doing clinics. And you know, when you come home from college, you see all the other guys that you wrestled in high school with and everything like that in college. And I was like, man, everybody else is moving in slow motion while we're wrestling. And I was going through everybody else, and I was like, all right, I'm getting better. So I went from being, like that lower tier guy in the room to like, all right, you know how when people say, hey, look, I want to wrestle with Justin. It's all right, okay, cool. I'm either good competition or I'm the guy that they wrestle before they wrestle the guy that they don't want to wrestle.
Right.
So I got to a point where I was wrestling with I was wrestling with the 141-pound starter, Cameron Moran, in match 4-3, 5-4, and I was wrestling with the 49 starter, Anthony White. Man, every time me and him wrestled, it was a 1-point match, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, this guy's 1 point better than me, and that's pretty much how college was. So like, I had to legit. I would wake up, I would run 5 miles Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the morning before my 6 a.m. workout. Get to my 6 a.m. workout because I felt like I had to play catch up. I started late, so I needed to do all of this in this amount of time just to catch up to where these guys were going. And I would run this hill called Fifth on Friday nights because that's where all of the guys would go to party. So I would make sure everybody who's walking down that hill to wrestle, they see me running past and going up and down the hill 10, 15 times, push-ups at the top, sit-ups at the bottom. And like, they really just kind of, all right, okay, cool, this guy's serious. So like I would sit, pick their brains, but the adjustment was like the hand fighting, the level of hand fight. I was a volume shooter in high school and I got away with it just because I was quick. And when I got to college, like, you can't hand fight, you're going to lose. Like, you're going to get punished. There is no just be open, move. Like, nah. The hand fighting on a college level was ridiculous. The head banging was ridiculous. Like, it is annoying and it wears on you.
Yeah. Now, was it like the biggest adjustment from going from high school to college? The two that always come to mind for me is hand fighting and then just getting off bottom. Like, getting off bottom, it was like, man, like, this guy stuck to me. Where I felt like, when I was in high school, now it took me like 10 years to graduate high school. So I was probably like, 25 at the time. But I just felt like once I got to college, I was like, what is this on my back? Or like hand fighting, like, what just snapped my head? Those seem like the biggest adjustments that had to be made. What were yours?
Oh, exactly that. I told you, man, I would go practices. I would go practices like that first month, like without getting to escape. Yeah. And the guy on my back was 133 pounds, and I was like 157. I was like, what is this dude? like, is he putting like sticky glue on his hand, like stick him on his hands and stuff? It was like, I now and then, but like I learned, like, it comes to a point in time where it's like, it's mental. Like, it's mental. Like, all right, look, dude, you're not going to ride me. It's mental, but I need to keep my hands in, and I need to keep my hands and my elbows in, and I need to get my hand control. All right, and then that is chain wrestling. Like, hand fighting is big, but you can hand fight and get to a leg attack, and they're already, okay, cool. I knew you was going to go, get what you need to get just so you can get to there, and they're already re-attacking. So I was just like, all right. This transitioning in chain wrestling, man, at the college level is endless, because once action starts, it's just boom, 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 boom. So if you're not 7 moves ahead, 9 times out of 10, you're not getting that takedown. It's grueling. Every match feels like the state finals, or it feels like the blood round. One or the other.
Yeah. No, for sure. Now, what advice would you give somebody that's in high school right now that has aspirations of wrestling, even at the D1 level? What advice do you give them to make sure that they're prepared?
So one of the main things that you need to do is, if you know anybody who's wrestled on a Division 1 level, you reach out to them. Like if you want to go somewhere where you haven't been, you need to find somebody who's been there. So like reach out to someone like that. Find as many. I'd be down at College Park trying to get to the RTCs as often as possible. I'd be reaching out to as many coaches in Maryland that I know have college wrestling experience. And then like don't hesitate on watching film. Like film is big. Like it gets annoying, but it's big and it helps so much. It helps so much. Get used to watching film and just really you really gotta submerge yourself and really be obsessed with it. Because wrestling, if you want to wrestle on a Division 1 level in college, sorry, but I drank when I was in college. And my high school coach called me and was like, Justin, when's the last time you had a drink? And I was like, mind you not, it was like Thursday. And I was like, well, Wasted Wednesday was yesterday. And my coach goes, he says, man, you're not serious. You bluffing. And he hung up on me. And I was like, all right, I need to lock in. No fast. I wasn't eating fast food. Like, if you really are serious about it and you really want to be successful, man, you really got to lock in. And don't hesitate. Don't be scared to get out of your bubble. Look for people who can kick your butt. You don't want to be that guy in the room that can beat everybody. Your learning curve slows down tremendously, I feel like. Like, be that guy that's getting whomped on and then going out there and then just destroying everybody else. Don't be scared of searching out that really, really solid competition. That's the best thing you got to do. That's essentially what I want to be able for us to do in Maryland, is to be able to have the best girls wrestling, the best girls week in and week out, have all right, let's do, North Maryland girls versus South Maryland girls, or East Maryland girls versus West Maryland girls. Line them up weight class by weight class and do a Maryland who's number one, I guess.
But, that'd be awesome. Now what about freestyle wrestling? Like, how much is that going to help somebody that say they want to wrestle in college or something like that? I mean, for the girls, obviously they wrestle freestyle there, but
yeah, well, that's a good question, actually, because the women's is different. Like, in college, they're wrestling freestyle, which I just learned last year. So, do you think they should try to move towards freestyle in high school too for the females, or you think it's just too much of a pain in the ass?
So, I personally think girls wrestling in high school will be freestyle in 3 to 5 years. And I say 3 to 5 years simply because it can't change for the next maybe year or two, because we don't have the referees. We don't have the referees for these girls' events, so that can come in and be educated enough to make all of the necessary calls. So that's one thing. And then, but I feel like freestyle it helps you so much. It helps you so much and makes you focus so much on positioning that even if you did wrestle folk style, it will help you out. So it'll just take both of those games to the next level. Like, some kids are really, really funky, but they put themselves in really bad positions, doing that stuff. But in freestyle, you give up points, you may get back face. So it teaches you, all right, okay, cool. Let me learn how to do this. Have really, really good hip control, really, really good body awareness, mat awareness. So I think, the younger that you can start doing freestyle, the better, especially for the girls, because it puts you at an advantage. If coaches see, man, this girl's, maybe she's never won a state title in girls wrestling, but she's been wrestling freestyle since she was 7. And it's just all right, okay, cool. I can see that's something that I can work with. That's something that I can grow with. But
yeah, sure.
I think getting I wrestle freestyle. I think when I started, my first freestyle match was against Nicole Woodey. So maybe that's where my respect for women's wrestling originated. but it's just it's so beneficial. It's so beneficial. And if you really want to like go to that next level, if you really want to wrestle in college, you know, like you'll check those boxes. You know, like that's the younger you start, man, and get better. I push all of the girls, you know, like right now, like, you know, there's girls who might be a certain weight and can get a scholarship, practice partner scholarship. You know, like it was a girl who got a scholarship just for being 100 pounds.
Wow.
And they needed somebody who was coachable, willing to learn, and was 100 pounds. And she fit the bill. Now she's, you know, doing her thing.
Yeah, that could have been Jason in high school.
Hey, man.
And now it could be, you could have got 2 scholarships. You're 100 pounds twice now, aren't you?
Hey, I'm not quite. Yeah.
Well, it's the one thing you brought up about the referees and how they, you know, there's not enough referees to sustain women's wrestling freestyle. Do you think there's the coaches? Like, do you think enough of the coaches out there know freestyle that they could teach it acceptably to the kids as well?
I mean, on a high school level, I think we have knowledge of freestyle wrestling in Maryland, but some of those guys might not actually be like those actual, you know, long-term coaches that's been around for a long period of time. Right. So like me personally, like I feel like I'm a young guy in the game. That's like I'm 30, and you know, like I like all of these. That's why I go to these different rooms, and I literally like John Nagel. I'll sit and I watch John Nagel coach, teach, and I walk over after he's finished teaching. I'll ask him, hey, you know, so you're saying when you get to this position, you do this, this, and this, right? All right, okay. All right, when you get there, why do you do that? And I don't ask, you know, to question his, you know, motives. I ask, okay, cool, I just want to understand your positioning, your thought process, on why you go from here to here to here. So like we have guys in Maryland that are like have the knowledge, you know, but like I said, at the end of the day, it comes down to we have to, you like if you want knowledge, you have to go seek it.
Sure, but like are you the exception or are you the rule? You know, like how many coaches out there, one, are going to be, you know, doing things in the off season where they could possibly learn, and the ones that do, how many of them are going to?
Well, we talked about like them not. A lot of coaches not even be committed in the off season to do folk style, you know, or anything. You know what I mean? So I mean, you're right. I mean, but honestly, I think referees too. I mean, Wildey's talked about this. Like, it's kind of, I mean, I think it's tough getting referees just for folk style. I mean, you know, parents out there, it's like, it's a bit of a thankless job, and, you know, they do get paid, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I really wouldn't want to be a ref, man. It seems like I wouldn't
want to be a referee on the sideline. Besides some good referees, good guys are like good group of guys. It's some that are just like, well, I see him walk into the tournament. All right, guys, look, y'all know we can't count on the referees today. We've all been given that speech before, but I'm just like, you know, some of them out there are really solid, man. But like, I feel like if we grow the culture enough to where it's always like, look, man, we need to want to actually get Maryland to where it's like a powerhouse. The people are like me. I'm a big Maryland guy. I want to see, you know, Maryland Terps wrestling like on the mat. Like I want to see them doing phenomenal. Like I want to see them doing all of those really, really solid things. I want to see them at Big Ten tournaments doing their thing, at NCAAs doing their thing. But it's difficult because it's just, I feel like it's kind of divided a lot of places in Maryland, you know, but like it's, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Just like me looking from the outside in, it just looks so spread out. And then you get to a place like PA or Minnesota, for example, where all of the kids and stuff come to one place to where so the best kids, they go there and they train with each other. And then they go to another tournament and then they destroy everybody who's not from Minnesota. Or they destroy everybody who's not from PA. So it's just like, it's difficult, but it's like we just got to get people in there, man, who don't really mind just learning. Like get people in the room who don't mind. Like everybody don't always have to be, you know, the head honcho in charge. I don't mind. Like I don't have a complex or anything like that. If I know you know what you're talking about, and I walking around, all right, Mackin, it's just show, man. Show, like let's rock, let's go, let's get them going. You know, hey, come on, pick it up, let's go. But outside of that, Like you don't need to be that guy inside in the middle, barking orders and showing and strutting and doing all this extra stuff, man. I don't care about all that. I keep 2 pairs of wrestling shoes in my bag at all times for anybody who want to talk trash. But outside of that, I'm like, oh, let's go ahead, man. Let's learn, let's grow, let's get better together.
What if they wear like a size 16? What are you gonna do then?
I was gonna say, what size do you wear, Mackin?
I can.
Man, me and Mac can never have to wrestle, man. They never have to wrestle. I respect that man entirely too much. I got a bag from maybe about a size 6 all the way to about a size 11. I keep it in my trunk. I've had a couple guys, All right, cool. Let's lace them up.
Oh, have you really? That's actually happened?
Stay in the wrestling room.
Huh? Have you actually had to do it before?
Twice. Twice.
Oh, that's awesome. No, before we wind this bad boy down, I know we have a tendency to keep people all day, and so we want to do that. What is the Wildey style? Because it seems like it's something that's not defined yet for somebody that seems to be such a student of the game still. And is always learning. What would you define the Wildey style as?
All right, so essentially, like when I see this, like I do my best to bring it back. One, the first thing I think of when I see Wildey is family. Regardless of like that's the type of relationship that I've developed. I feel like with Phil Smith, with Maggie Palmore, with Seta Sarni, Jalen Hyman, Justin Briscoe, Dominic Reyes. Like Tion. Wrestled at Western Tech. I was like, hey man, I need to get a shirt. And it's just family, man. Like that's the biggest thing. The most important thing in the world to me is family. It's very rare that you'll see me and you won't see my youngest son getting out of the car seat, or he walking around now, or JJ. And essentially from that, like the way I give back into my family is like it'll start to divulge into the wrestling aspect. And the wrestling aspect is, look, man, I don't need you to be a 17-time All-American. I don't need you to be a 4-time state champ. No, your job is to be a champion in life. All right? If you don't ever win a match, but you go on and you're a productive father, you're a productive brother, you're a productive businessman, a phenomenal husband. All right? And day in and day out, you just keep coming back. It's just that simple. Like all of those, it all intertwines. Anything and everything I do, I have now personally because of my wrestler's mindset that I developed through wrestling. And I feel like the one of the, I guess, things that I can give somebody is, I guess, my name. And my name is, essentially like if I give you my name, man, we're family. Like if you was to never wear a shirt back and I was like, hey man, that guy, man, he's the guy. Epitome of Wildey style. I see how he runs champions at Wrestle. I see how he interacts with all of those kids. Like I've had some discussions with you before. One of the things I remember you saying to me is, man, when all of these kids getting off the bus, I need all these kids getting off the bus to thank that bus driver. And if they don't, yeah, man, you might as well kiss the night goodbye. And I remember you saying that to me, and I was like, man, that dude, he's a stand-up guy. Like that's literally the type of people that I want to represent Wildey style. Like I don't want to just have a bunch of banners in there and they be like, yeah, but that guy, he's a drug addict. He didn't take care of his kids. That guy, he hits women. That girl, she's bad mom. Like, no, forget all that. Come to the room, get better every day.
Can I get a shirt then?
Heck yeah.
Oh my man.
Heck yeah. Cool. And on the back of every shirt, I have some nice little snazzy things that I like my girl said at the end of wrestling practice. Seta does this the best. Championships are taken. You can earn a wrestler. You can earn a gold medal. You can earn a championship in a round. You can deserve a championship in the wrestling round. But once you get out there, and them lights come on, you gotta take that joint. That other guy or that other girl standing over there, she there. She earned it, and that's why she's there. He's there. So now you gotta take it. And then you got a couple of them. You got the all gas no brakes. That's the big one. Championships are taken. Pressure. Because that's, like I said, man, nobody want to be in front of everything that's relentless.
I certainly hated wrestling guys like that. I did, yeah.
Me too.
I was like, oh, slow down, man.
Yeah.
No, I'll definitely I'll rock it on the once I get it. I'll rock it on the next podcast that I do after I get it.
When we get off of here, man, you text me your address and your shirt size, and I'm gonna send you one. No problem. I'll bring you one on Sunday.
I appreciate it, dude. No, that's so. In the meantime, where can we find you, or how can we get in contact with you? Either where your practices, or how can somebody reach you if they want to train?
So if anyone, I run an all girls practice every Sunday, 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Literally have the best girls in Maryland in there. So if you're looking to get better, that's the place to be. And then, like if you want to train or if you want to get better anyway, or if you want to find any merchandise, there's some other things coming down the line soon. Like I'm big on, like, you guys see me always wrestle with my tights. Yeah, so I'm looking. Matter of fact, yeah, we're going to talk when we get off of here too, man. We're going to talk when we get off of here. But you can find me on Instagram. Just go straight to my Instagram page, Wildey.fit. If you type in Wildey, my name will pop up.
Awesome.
Yeah, my name will pop up. But yeah, man. You can find me on Facebook anytime. Anybody have any questions like that? Either type my name in, you'll see Justin Wildy pop up, or you'll see James Wildy pop up. And we look pretty much alike right now because I got all this crap on my face. But yeah, shoot me a DM and we can talk. The website's coming soon. That's why I have all this, man. When you see me looking like this, man, just know that I've been working, man. I've been working, trying to get a lot of stuff done behind the scenes. Awesome.
No, is there anything else you want to talk about today before we let you go? Really appreciate you taking your time to be with us today. It's been awesome, and appreciate all the input.
Oh man, I mean, I'm gonna say this. This is what I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna touch on this real quick thing about women's wrestling. I saw your post earlier about Save Wrestling. And the way we save wrestling is, man, we got to embrace the women's and the girls aspect of wrestling. We have to embrace it. Like, point blank, period. Like, if you look at the NFL, breast cancer awareness, you see all those pink socks. You see the breast cancer tattoos and the pink towels and all that stuff, man. Like, that the female demographic, the woman demographic, that female audience is big, man. And, like, pretty much, like, Mackin, we've been in tournaments. And we know the crowd is the loudest when Jalen is wrestling a boy.
Absolutely.
Whenever a girl is wrestling a boy, regardless of what school it is, if Jalen is wrestling freaking Milford, everybody who's not from Milford, who's in that crowd, is cheering for this girl to beat this boy. Sure. And it's really that simple. Like, there are some super, super cool, dope stories that these women have. Like, it took me a year to hear Jalen's story, and I was like, yo, bro, I'm proud of him. Like that's all I can say. Like, Victoria Francis, she's in Maryland, man. She's a freaking hammer. Justin Briscoe got to the state finals, and the first person he said, he was like, man, that's all Miss Victoria. That's all Coach Victoria. Because she's literally in your face, pressure, beating the crap out. He spit his mouthpiece out 5 seconds in a hand fighting with her. Just spit his mouthpiece out. He pins his way to the state finals, but he spit his mouthpiece out 5 seconds in the hand fighting with her. So, man, if you guys really want to grow wrestling, man, embrace the women's side of it, man. Like, these girls, like, they belong there. There's no difference between boys and girls wrestling, man. They just looking to get a good scrap in, and the physical and health, benefits that these ladies get from it, man. Like, Jaden was 195 pounds. And wrestled 164 last year. Looked in shape. Sato was a heavyweight. She wrestled 52. It's super, super beneficial for these young ladies, man. We just got to embrace both aspects of it. Just because you support women's wrestling don't mean you think they better than the guys or anything like that. It's all preference. Wrestling is wrestling.
Awesome. Well, on that note, Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate everything. Doing great things, both at the high school level and also, obviously, in the off season, both with the guys and the girls, but especially doing great things at the helm of the women's program here in Maryland. And we're going to see some great things, I'm sure, out of the female group in the future with you at the helm. So really, really excited to have you there and keep doing great things, my man.
I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Cool. Thank you. Jason, anything else, buddy?
Nah, man. I'll see you on Sunday, dude.
Okay.
See you on Sunday, man.
Awesome.
Hey, your shirt.
Another great episode. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you for supporting Champions at Wrestle. We'll see you next time.